Hi guys, welcome back to Exam Debug. Chris McKenna, and I'm going to be taking you today through Python 3 numbers. So we're going to be looking at how to deal with numbers in Python 3. So if you could open up your Python shell with idle, or whichever program that you're using, and we're going to create a new file. And it's always a handy thing just to save it right away, to save us any hassles later. I'll save it. I'll overwrite this old file. Okay, so for the numbers one, we'll start off with similar to what we did with the variables last time and strings. So strings are, if you remember, last time we had print, and then we would have quotation mark, hello, and then save and run, and it would say hello. So that's in the quotation marks. However, with numbers that we do maths with, we do not need to use quotation marks. We can simply do it as it is. So this is going to print 3 plus 3, but if we were to put it in quotation marks, it would have a different effect. It would print literally the text 3 plus 3. So this is the big difference between numbers and strings. And strings were what we were doing last week. It was just the set text. And numbers, we can use the operators with. And we can do functional things with them as well. So we've got the usual ones. We've got the plus, we've got minus. A bit odder looking is for multiplication. We use the asterisk or the star. If we want to divide, we can use a slash in order to do that. So play about with these and you can see what you can come up with. And you can do more complex mathematics as well, so you can, or combinations of things. So you can do 3 plus 5 divided by 7 times 9 F5, and you'll get your answer over there. So you can do like combinations of other things, and it works in exactly the same way as normal mathematics. So if you've maybe forgotten, just remember this PEMDAS idea. So parenthesis, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. You should do it in that order. It works the same way in Python as it does in normal mathematics. However, it's nice, it's more user-friendly if you're going to start putting stuff into brackets, because it's just nicer for everyone involved if you do that. So, okay, you can put it all in a line, but just for other people reading your programs, it's good to make it nice and tidy. Alright, so we can also assign numbers to variables. For example, I'm going to have number 1. I'm going to say number 1 equals 5. Now if I print number 1 down here, oops, it's just going to print out whatever I have assigned it to up here. But you could do some kind of math. So we could have number 1 and number 2. And in here we could say number 1. Let's do it separately. Let's do result. Result equals number 1 plus multiplied by number 2. And we want to print the result. Now notice you could do that, you could just put number 1, number 2 in here, that would work as well. It just depends what you want to do with that number in the future. Okay, so that's going to be number 1, which is here, 5, multiplied by number 2, which is 10, and it's going to get the result. We can also do the inputs like we did before for numbers, but it's going to be a little bit different. So let's see what happens bit more tricky. So input, please, oops, I need the quotation marks. Please give the first number. Oh, sorry, man. Still not changing my keyboard. One day I will. And then number 2, please give the second number. So this is going to say number 1 equals the answer, whatever the user types in answer to this, and number 2 is going to equal whatever the user types in answer to this. So if we press F5, we say please give the first number, 5. Please give the second number, 10. Uh-oh, error. So there's a reason for this, and it comes back to what we were talking about before with the strings and numbers. So they are different, and you can't just treat them as the same. It might be more clear if I do it as a plus here, and you'll see what's going wrong, I think. So if we do 10, oops, 10 and 16, we're probably going to get an odd result, which is 10, 16. Yeah, so this is still thinking of these as strings, and this is the problem. What it's saying is, it's kind of like saying John plus Tom. It's just adding them together into a single string, into a single piece of text. So what we need to do is we need to tell the computer that it's not text that the user is going to give it. The user is going to give it a number. And for numbers, let's say we're going to use int or integer. So what we have to do is we have to use int bracket and put that around the input. The first one, and put it around the input. So this is saying get the input, change it to an integer, and then we can deal with it as a number. Now let's see if that works. So we end up with 15 as the number, which is 5 plus 10. And then we print the result. Okay, so the important thing here is it's a number, and then we're wanting to print it out. Now you might get a similar error in another place because you have a number and you want it to be as a string. So you can do the exact same changeover, and we could say, for example, str for string results. Now this is not going to have any effect on us, but it's doing the opposite thing. The str will change this from a number into a string. 10, 20. Okay, so it's a little bit complex. You've got to bear in mind that there's both strings and numbers, and there are other data types that you can see later. But for now, strings and numbers are going to be your biggest ones, and you can't just treat them identically. You can't just jump from one to another. Okay, so for your homework, yes, YouTube is giving you homework. Maybe you can try and do your own mathematical calculation. Maybe a simple program like this. I would suggest, if you're in high school, maybe you can pick from one of your other classes like maths or physics, practice some speed, distance, time calculations or something else like this, and try and program in, what's the speed, what's the distance, and then calculate the result and print the result to the console. that's all for today. If you've got any questions, please give me a shout in the comments, or and please like and subscribe as well. That would be very helpful. Anyway, hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.